Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica Foley Long. With me, we have Mayor Phil Prejean with the Town of Baldwin. So happy to have you here. We are now in 2022. How you feel?
Oh, good, good.
Good.
Looking forward to a new year.
Awesome. Now, I don't think I've actually talked about this with anybody else, any of our other mayors, but let's talk about the audit. I know, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about finances and one of your proudest moments, but for this year, or actually last year, how's your audit?
Audit's going on. Actually, it's going on right now. It should be completed the next day or so. The initial indications that we have is that we will have a very good audit, and that the town will be in the blue, so to speak. You know, we will not be in debt.
You'll be in the black.
I mean, yeah, yes.
Now you are going on your 4th year.
Yes, ma'am.
And within your term, question for you, will you seek re-election?
No, ma'am, I will not.
So you're one and done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what does that leave you? What's next for Prejean?
Well, I'll try retirement again.
I'm sure your wife's happy about that?
I think so.
Okay, so that means pretty much taking it easy and enjoying life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll see. So how many times have you retired?
Huh?
How many times have you retired?
This will be the 2nd time.
Right. So, you know, they always say 3 times is a charm. So we'll see. Question for you, because this is, you're one and done. What's your proudest moment?
Well, my proudest moment when I got into office, the town was in a very bad financial shape, and it was a challenge to try to get it back on a solid financial basis. And you know, I figured it was going to take me 3 to 4 years to do it. We were able to turn the town around, and with the help of the council, I must say that, with the help of the council, within 2 years we've done it. So you know, the town is in solid financial shape right now.
How did you do it?
Well, I mean, I sometimes think, I said, I didn't wave a magic wand and make it happen. It seems like, you know, just did those things that were expected of us. And we collected the monies that were due to the town. We tightened up on expenses, and you know, and that's what did it.
Did you have to cut any jobs, or?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay. All right. So pretty
that
much
was
collecting on those debts.
I did it without cutting any jobs or cutting any salaries. So.
Okay. Well, because you're doing your one and done, has there been much talk about anyone wanting to take your place?
Well, I think there's a number of people in town that want to be mayor, and I think there will be a number of candidates out there when come qualification time.
Okay. Right now, we've talked about this before, but you're getting closer to the water valve project of actually replacing a lot of the faulty water valves and actually installing new water valves. And
yes, ma'am. Well, the water valves we're talking about are the ones that are underground.
Underground, right.
They're underground ones, and what that will do will let us isolate smaller sections of town when we have to effect repairs. And so if we can do that smaller ones, we can get to them faster. We won't have boil water advisories and so on. We'll be able to get things done very quickly. And I'm proud to say that Thursday night, we will be authorizing the engineers to advertise for bids. So the money's in place, everything's in place, and so hopefully by this spring, it'll be underway.
So as it stands now, like currently, how is the system set up? That's what I was trying to paint that picture, because right now, everything is, you have like these long lines, and you would have to, how do you describe it? Because if you install additional water lines, you can get to those areas, you can isolate those areas now,
right.
But now
I mean,
you have to...
There's currently existing water valves.
Yes,
they're not functioning, either frozen or not working. And so it's basically to replace them. It's not we're not reinventing the wheel. We're going back where they should be, changing out the old ones, putting new in that work.
Okay, so some of them are not working.
Oh, that's the problem. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I thought you.
There are valves there. It's just that in an old system, they just in the ground, iron rusts, and it gives problems. And so, and many of them that you don't have a problem, you don't go to it. So you don't turn the valve gets stuck, and you know, and so it's gonna alleviate those problems.
How much is that project?
That project would be about $300,000.
Okay. And how soon do we foresee that actually coming to fruition?
Oh, I think by spring it would be underway. The project will be underway, and it shouldn't take that long to complete it. So.
Okay. And you mentioned about boil advisories, and that's something that if you ever talked about boil advisory, you say, you must be talking about in Baldwin, because that was something that would happen pretty frequently.
You know, I mean, and I noticed, I watched the neighboring communities all have issues with boil advisory. Everybody wants to try to stay away from that because it creates a lot of confusion. You know, sometimes you do a boiling water advisory because of guidelines that you have to go through. Doesn't necessarily mean that water is contaminated at that point, but it's a safety measure.
Right. All right. Well, we are going to take a short break, but come back.
Okay.
Please join us. And also in the meantime, make sure to subscribe to us on Facebook, KWBJ TV 22. See you shortly. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, I am your host, Danica Foley Long, and with me we have Mayor Phil Prejean with the Town of Baldwin. Let's kind of talk a little bit about just the town opening up a little bit more after the governor lifted the mask mandate. I know one of the, I guess, money makers for the town was this rec center, being able to rent it out, and after pretty much the pandemic really took a hold of just about every place, you guys had to shut down your rec center because it was just hard to enforce the mask mandate.
Yeah, what affected us is that the mask mandate caused us not to be able to rent the community center. And you say, well, why? I mean, it's a simple thing of who's gonna enforce it in a social setting. I mean, you see every day on TV, some people are wearing it, some people are not. And so, you know, so rather than that, we just didn't rent it out during the COVID mask mandate time. Now it's open now, and it's available for rental. We've had some, but it's been slow. And of course, this is a slow time of the year for it. I expect when the weddings begin in the spring and people get back to a little bit normal. And that's the thing about the community center. It reflects how the community is doing as far as being open. You know, the weddings will start again and all this. Well, then the community center will start being used again.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Well, it will be open because Mardi Gras is coming back. Are you participating in Mardi Gras? Baldwin hosting parade?
There will be a Mardi Gras parade in Baldwin again. We've authorized that, and at our last meeting, and so it's the Saturday before Mardi Gras, and Mardi Gras will happen again in Baldwin.
Okay. You know, when it comes to Baldwin, one thing I think of just the beautiful homes they have out there along the Tesh, and I mean, but one thing you don't really hear about is economic development. I think we talked about this again the last time you were here. Right. Is there, can Baldwin add anything to the economy in St. Mary Parish?
Well, you know, it's a lot of retail businesses, to be quite frank with what you have, but then you look around throughout St. Mary Parish, and you go to neighboring parishes. Is that retail businesses are having a hard time staying open, and those are the people that's the lifeblood of your community. That's your base, the small business people. We've tried, you know, whatever we can do to assist people wanting a small business. We try to help them in every way we can. However, it's just I don't know. It hasn't been expanding like I would like to see it, and certainly that's the thing that limits our town. Now you're talking about the town, about the housing. We don't have too much of we don't have a surplus of housing in Baldwin. What comes up for sale generally sells in quick order. Okay. So, you know, I don't have a bunch of houses just sitting there with for sale signs and nobody buying them. Somebody's buying them.
Yeah, people, they're buying them and they're in them. And they're, like I said, they're just beautiful homes. It's just that, you know, you think of areas where, you know, families move to places most of the time because they want family-friendly activities and events for their families. But also, too, I think in terms of once people get older and they're ready to retire, they pretty much downsize. Yeah. You know, so that's something else you start to see maybe more of the, I guess, our older citizens maybe downsizing from the big homes. And that's another thing you've got in Baldwin is that Baldwin tends to have a little older base of population. And with that, you don't have that many children. And of course, grandkids. Got grandkids. But I'm saying, but the thing is, but the children you have is what
or the ones that want to play baseball or football or what have you. And so the pool is not as big as it used to be. When I first moved to Baldwin, I mean, all of our baseball fields were full of people every day, in the spring and the summer. Yeah. And it just hit by that way. Now, one of the problems is I've tried to get Little League Baseball and what have you started back again, and I have not been very successful with it. It's not a question of money, it's a question of children. And it seems a problem with having parents bringing their children there.
And that's going to bring up another question. We'll save that for the next segment. So come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to The Voice of the Coast. Again, I am your host, Danica Foley-Long. With me, we have Mayor Phil Prejean with the Town of Baldwin. All right, so we have an issue with pretty much quality of life, right? Giving our kids something to do, but yet the kids don't want anything to do because the parents aren't bringing the kids to the biddy.
Yeah, I mean, recreation is basically a family. It's a holistic thing, and that if everybody wants it to happen, it happens. I mean, you get, if the parents will bring the children, we'll get the people to coach and we'll get the things that they need to play with and the uniforms and what have you. But they have to do that because, and if you talk to many of the people that are coaching teams right now, and they'll tell you many times they have to go get the children and bring them home in the evenings and what have you. And that's a big load to put on somebody that's offering their time for free.
So the issue is exactly what you're saying. So then you have another issue that is kind of exacerbated, I believe is the word, where you don't have the kids playing the Little League, but then you also have shootings that are and there's young adults, young kids that are also.
Shootings, I mean, look, it's everywhere now, unfortunately. Big town, small towns, just about it. And it's random shooting. There's people shooting in there. Well, but they're shooting at houses now. They're shooting into trailers. It's just, we had a while last year. We had a train conductor get hit with somebody fired on him.
And look, I don't think it's necessarily a reflection of the administration, obviously. But
No.
I just know that we've had some shootings in Baldwin, right? And involving young people.
Right.
So it does pose an issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And like I said, we're aware of it. And like I said, it's just that, and I think that's from kids not having supervision and regimentation in their lives. I mean, like if you play sports, you're expected to do certain things, and you gain responsibility. And I think that because the random shootings that we have are certainly not responsible. So I think that would have a great deal to help with that if we could get the kids back into the Little League, back into playing basketball and so on.
But how do you reach those who are outside of just the Little League? I mean, I think we do pay attention to, Little League up until maybe junior high. But how do we reach our teenagers? How do we reach our young adults?
Teenagers are basically, it would be high school related. I mean, if the school stimulates their interest in those things, then they would come to us. I think it's kind of a chicken and egg type thing, but it has to be, their interest has to be stimulated somewhere. Something other than using electronic devices. Do you want to play football? Do you want to play softball? Do you want to go to college and play football? Do you want to go to college and play softball? I mean, those things, those are goals that you get. And so if they're stimulated, then they would want to do that. Then you've got to start early. I mean, you can't just all of a sudden wake up one morning and be in high school and say, I want to be a star on the LSU football team. Well, that's a nice goal, but the chances of you getting there are not very good. It'd be a great disappointment. However, if you started as a young person playing in the small leagues and what have you, and built it up, then you got a pretty good chance of going to LSU or some other place to play football.
And speaking of school, you actually have a welding school that's going to be coming online pretty soon in Baldwin. And I thought it was in Sharonton, but it's actually going to be in Baldwin,
Yes.
where I think it's in cooperation with SLCC,
Right.
I believe.
Port
It
of
may
West
be.
St. Mary and that's it.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Port of West St. Mary owns the property, and they've got a grant from the state and I think from federal economic development, and it's a training facility for welders and for people that work in the chemical plants. Some training there, and they'll also have a truck driver training academy there also.
oh,
So it's
awesome.
right under the bridge in Baldwin.
Come on. All right. Well, we're going to take another break, but come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast. Oh, welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Let's get right to it. Again, Baldwin Mayor Phil Prejean, and I wanted to kind of talk about just some things that I guess you've accomplished over your term. Since you're not going to be seeking re-election, at least you can highlight some of the things that you have done during your time period. And at one time, the water tower was actually offline. And has it since been put back online? And what's the operations like?
Yes, and when the town stopped making water, so to speak, and we started buying water from the Sharonton Water District, the water tower was taken offline. And then a few years back, if you remember, we had a prolonged freeze. There was a lot of broken pipes. Water pressure was lost by the water district, not completely, but it was just reduced significantly. And so we determined that it would be the better thing to do is put the water tower back in operation, and it always have water available no matter what happens. It's basically like storage. And so we had it all re-sanitized, and we put it back online. And so it's been working fine for us. The only problem we had was in the summer with the heat on that tower, the chlorine was dissipating a little faster than it should.
Okay.
So instead of filling the tower all the way up, we were filling it halfway up, and that solved that problem.
Okay. Now, is the water tower something that it's more of a backup?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah. Because
Okay.
you see, the water, historically, you used to use water towers to maintain the water pressure in the system because it was the pressure of the water pushing down.
Okay.
And now that the pumps distribute the water pretty much, electric pumps.
And you still borrow or buy water from
Yes, ma'am.
neighboring Sharonton?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. There is one project that you want to get underway, and it may not be actually completed by the time you leave, but that's a sewer treatment plant, right?
Yeah, our sewage treatment plant is quite old. Right now, it's running efficiently and it's not a problem. But over the years, it has become filled up a little bit with organic matter, let's say. And so that needs to be, a lot of that needs to be removed. The levees need to be strengthened again, in some cases elevated a little bit. Here again, then the aeration system needs to be rehabbed. So we have that. We have an application in two different sections for grants to upgrade it, and we have the monies from the federal stimulus plan for our match. So we have our expectation that at some time during a lot of part of this year, we ought to be able to get something going on.
Do you guys still have any ARPA funding still readily available, and have you distributed to different projects?
We've used pretty much all the allocation for this year.
Okay.
I mean, for last year.
Oh, right.
This year we'll get another one supposedly in April, May, and that's the one I was talking about using for the sewer.
Okay.
For the sewer plant. So, but the other ones, no, we've allocated that. We've used those monies for some drainage improvements, some sewer improvements as far as upgrading our sewer lift stations with making sure that there's 2 pumps in every one, some new panels, and some different valving that it become obsolete in them. So that's what we've been spending it on, and like just maintenance improvements in the sewer system, and again in the drainage. We're cleaning up some ditches that we have not been able to have opportunity to do.
And again, I know, like you said, one of your crowning moments is that you were able to bring the town back into the black without cutting any jobs or anything. But are you hiring at the moment? Are there jobs available in Baldwin?
Well, right now, we just hired somebody today. She started another employee in town to do our to handle the water utilities billing and stuff like that. So we need to separate some of that. My clerk was handling that, and that just distracted her more than I needed her for other things, and so she was always dealing with the water. So we have a new person that'll be dealing with that now.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time as always. And now that I know you'll be going out, I'm going to have you in several more times before that time ends. We appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, make sure to subscribe to us on Facebook. We are KWBJ TV 22, but also check us out on YouTube, KWBJ Live. You guys take care.